Hello everyone, this is Bill Griffin. Welcome to the Different Take Podcast. Really appreciate you watching. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, share, comment. I recently did an episode on what is called restorative discipline in Gwinnett County Public Schools. So this is, if you don't know what that is, it's derived from social emotional learning, which is what this episode's about. But restorative discipline is sort of an insane concept which replaces discipline such as detention, suspensions, and expulsion with counseling. And what's happened in Gwinnett County, according to the Gwinnett School Board that has implemented this and others, that violence has arisen from this, and a lot of disruption. And there's, you can see the videos. There's a lot of videos of people at school board meetings that have come out and spoken against this concept. And even the school board chair, Therese Johnson, admits that the execution is the problem. Well, if it's great policy, the execution typically isn't going to be a problem at all. So today I want to talk about social emotional learning. So this is a definition from the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. So I'm going to read the definition. This is a leftist organization. Social emotional learning is pushed by leftist politicians, community leaders, academics. This is not, country's kind of split. So if you're offended by me calling it leftist, the people at this collaborative, or organization, I should say, they call it collaborative, they will tell you that they're leftist. So this is the definition. We define social emotional learning, SEL, as an integral part of education and human development. SEL is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. SEL advances educational equity and excellence through authentic school, family, community partnerships to establish learning environments and experiences that feature trusting and collaborative relationships, rigorous and meaningful curriculum and instruction, and ongoing evaluation. SEL can help address various forms of inequity and empower young people and adults to grow, create thriving schools, and contribute to safe, healthy, and just communities. Well, you see the word equity. And on their website, that word comes up a lot. The word parents, however, does not come up very often. There's lots of problems with social and emotional learning, and I want to go through them. In going through this is a video of Superintendent Calvin Watts of Gwinnett County Public School System talking about social emotional learning. I played this on the last episode, but it's worth repeating.
Social emotional learning means that we want to help our students be able to manage their emotions, to be able to self-correct, to be able to lead with empathy, to understand what it's like to walk in others' shoes so that you can address others' needs. That's students and staff. That's behavior that's often taught at home, but sometimes it's taught differently in different homes. So we want to make sure we're providing a level of clarity and certainty, and so we're offering this.
So what I hear Mr. Watts saying is that trust us. We will teach you. We will teach your children what a just world is and what it looks like. So don't worry. We'll do that. The problem is your just world may not look like his just world. Equity implies that you don't treat others as you wish to be treated, as which most folks would like to have happen, I think, from going back hundreds, thousands of years. That's sort of been the way, the value that most people hold. Works pretty well. You treat others as you wish to be treated unless, and then you get into, well, what demographic group they fall into. So that's a problem when Calvin Watts says, we will teach you. your children what a just world looks like. So that's one problem. I don't trust him to teach that. I trust parents to teach their children. Anyway, there are a lot of other problems. This is a video of what happens in the classroom.
When someone blames, they use words like, you always, it's your fault, you did it, he did it, she did it, he's always bothering me. That's putting the blame because I'm putting it on you. And what does that do when I say, you always do that to me, you always say that? But what does that do to a person? It makes them feel bad. It makes them get mad. So when you blame someone, it tends to make them mad. So if we're going to be able to state the problem, we want to make sure that we're not mad.
Can somebody help us what does empathy means? Vanessa?
Is a feeling or understanding what someone else is feeling.
How do you think they're feeling and how do you know? Giselle G.
I know that they're angry because I saw their bodies and their bodies look like they're kind of angry.
Their bodies look like they are kind of angry. Okay. So maybe how they were kind of like this towards each other showed you that they were angry. Because, you know, happy people don't look like this to each other, right?
So what I notice about this video is that you have teachers, and if you looked at the back of the teachers, they're on their big boards where they have words written, is dealing with emotions by unlicensed and improperly trained teachers instead of trained therapists, people that have training in counseling, young people on managing their emotions. So if you have a teacher, instead of that notes that there's a child that has some problems handling their emotions and so forth, you would think you would refer them to their parents and a mental health care professional. But instead, there's this idea that, and that's one problem I have with this whole concept, is that you're asking teachers to perform jobs that they're not adequately trained for. The other problem I have with this concept, if you're talking about this from K through 12, if you're talking about emotions all the time, and we all make emotional decisions instead of logical decisions, we all do this. But some people make decisions much more based on emotion than logic. And those folks, no matter their age, counseling by a professional might help them. But if this is all you're talking about through K through 12, or you're doing this every day, I should say, not the only thing that they're talking about in school, but if this is just permeates the entire career of a student, wouldn't they be more apt to make more emotional decisions if they were going to school strictly to study academics and it was sort of, okay, well, it's based on logic, then wouldn't they become more logical? Wouldn't that be better for them? But not according to these folks that believe in social emotional learning, because I think they have an agenda, and I think it's pretty apparent they have an agenda. The video I just played, by the way, is entitled Classroom Examples of Social Emotional Learning and Character Development. You can find that on YouTube. This next video is called Smart Hearts. It's about a minute long. Smart Hearts, Social and Emotional Learning Overview.
Know a boy or girl here at school who gets picked on and left out and never included and laughed at all the time? Raise your hands high, high. Look around the room, please. Hands down.
At one point, Michael asks kids to come forward and share how they've been hurt, or maybe to apologize to others. And when he asked them to do that, I thought, they're not going to do this. In front of all these kids, they're not going to come forward. I have to tell you, I was amazed at how free they were to come forward and really share their experience.
When I first moved here a year ago, no one really wanted to play with me, and all the fifth graders called me names.
What was it doing to your heart?
It just made me feel really bad.
We get sick if we try to hold all that pain in. And then the unaddressed grief turns to anger, and the anger to rage, and it has two directions.
So on its face, that might seem, and this is edited, so that might seem like a pretty innocent and productive I don't think so, but if you believe that, just consider, well, what if other questions were asked? So here's another video where they go through that. And this is, you can find this on YouTube as well. It's called Social Emotional Learning, SEL is Abuse.
Interrogations are a this is the crux of social emotional learning. Again, it's done in every stinking class, you guys. Math, whatever it is. Okay, it's asking questions. Here we go. About my friends. My best friend's name is. My best friend thinks that I am. Right? Something my friend does that worries me. My mom's name is. Today I would describe my relationship with my mom as, so this is grooming. What you're looking at is grooming. It is getting incriminating information about students in order to use that as leverage. Make no mistake.
So in addition to those questions, and if you refer back to the first video, what if they were what if the speaker, the motivational speaker that came in to talk to this big group of kids, we're talking about the kids' parents and not someone that bullied them in school, which was kind of, maybe bully's not the right word, but didn't treat the newcomers to school like the old comers. I think that was a conversation. That would be totally inappropriate to ask that in a classroom. But you do this in writing, so it's recorded. There is, if you go to the website, there is a lot of mention in the documentation on this website, casel.org, which, as I said, it's a grift, partly a grift, because there's a lot of big corporations that fund this sort of thing. But you go into the documentation that you can find on this website regarding social emotional learning, and they talk about data collection a lot. It's talking about a lot. It's not spoken to in a negative way. It's to improve. But there is the potential for collecting personal data. And I think it's very inappropriate to ask students about their parents. But what if the questions were about climate change, or say the war in Ukraine, or sexual education, capitalism? So there's going to be this groupthink that administrators will push, well, this is what you should think, and this is what you should feel about it. Now, will they be told directly, this is what you should think? No, they'll be nudged in that direction. I mean, there's no way around it. Who is pushing this? For example, the Gwinnett County School Board is controlled by leftists. They're going to be pushing social emotional learning because it suits their ideology. Here's another video actually from the website, casel.org. The title of this video, you can find it, Equity and SEL, What Educators Need to Know and Do.
Of all our young people. And, our stance is that there are some common outcomes that we're interested in. Processes and mechanisms for that development might be a little different. So we have to, each community has to ask itself, given its current situation, what are the things how do we align ourselves to maximally support the optimal development of our young people?
So equity, talking about equity is sort of a religion. This has real life consequences. For example, if you're on a jury or you're a judge and you're trying to make a decision about a criminal case or civil case, doesn't really matter, and you inherently apply the facts of the case instead of, Lady Justice is blonde. You don't see the person. You have to see the person in terms of their demographics, what category they fall into, and that will have to impact If you're putting this on kids K through 12, that's going to have to impact their decision down the road. There's no way it couldn't. And of course, in all kinds of areas of life, just not that particular example. So this gentleman talks about equity. Is that like an hour-long video? This is, I want to pull up the image that he's talking over. So I'm reading from this image, essential questions each community must answer. What do we want our children to become, to know, and to be able to do when they graduate? Then the next question, how can the entire community be organized to ensure that all students reach the stated goals? So this is very interesting. This sort of proves my point that this is about indoctrinating children in an ideology that we believe in. It's a leftist ideology. Who are we? The community. What's the community? Our children to become. When you go through this organization's website and their publications and so forth, you will not see the term parent. You certainly won't see the terms mother and father, but you will not see the term parent. You will see the term family, but it is always in connection to community. It will read family and community. They're not your children. When people refer to our children, they're talking about parents. When people say my children, they're talking about I'm the parent or guardian of that child. So that's strange to use that terminology. It would be okay to replace, I suppose, children with students. But then you get into to become, to know. We want them to know what we want you to know. This is how we want you to think and to be able to do when they graduate. This is a strange question for me as a parent. I don't know many parents that think like this. I want my children to be independent, not only independently take care of themselves and provide for themselves, and I want them to be happy and healthy, but I want them to be independent thinkers. I want them to treat others as they would wish to be treated. And I don't have desires for them to become anything else but that. I want them to be independent thinkers. But in this case, it's written, what do we want our children to become? To know, what do we want them to become? You mean a professional? What sort of profession? Parents don't typically, they might desire for their child to become a certain profession, and they might encourage them to do this and so forth and so on. And some parents are overboard on this, but most want their children to be happy in what they're doing. So if they're not happy with being, say, a doctor, and that's what the parent wants them to be, a physician, let's say, they're okay with it. So in this case, it's the entire community has to be organized to ensure that these students reach whatever goals the community has for these children. This is the big problem that I have with social emotional learning. Let the parents raise their children. Don't turn your children over to the government to have them raise them for you. Get them out of Gwinnett County Public Schools. If you can at all do so, and encourage your legislatures to enact school choice so that you can get out of this madness. Replace the school board. Get rid of the superintendent. Social emotional learning is just you're going to have much more emotional people making emotional decisions, or based on their emotions and their feelings, not their logic. you don't want your teachers and school administrators having their students, you don't want them telling them what to think and how to feel about any particular topic. It's groupthink. It's also a lot of time away from actual learning. And as I said in the last episode, social and emotional learning is, well, let me back up. Social learning, you inherently, if you're in school, especially a public school, you're learning social skills. That's just part of going to school. The social emotional learning focuses on the managing your emotions, but the social part is we're all working together, instilling certain principles. And it permeates through the curriculum, into the textbooks, the academic textbooks, and so forth and so on. But as I said in the last episode, social emotional learning equals restorative discipline, which equals violence and disruption in class. And that's not good for anybody. Even the folks that are, even the kids that are perpetrating the disruption and the violence involved. It's not good for them either. So that's my episode today. I hope you liked it. If you're inclined, please subscribe, share, like, comment. Thanks for watching.